Hey there, guys and gals of YouTube world. Hopefully you're doing outstanding this morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you might be watching this. It's Tuesday, February the 15th in the year 2022, where I'm at. I don't know where you are. Anyway, make sure you subscribe if you like. If you don't want to subscribe, don't do it. But if you like the videos, please click the thumbs up. And more importantly, if you think you get any value out of this, any of my videos, because I know every video is not going to resonate with everyone. You might like this one, hate this one, etc., etc. But if you get value out of one of the videos, try to share it with someone you care about, your spouse, your significant other, your children, your parents, somebody, because we got to get more folks out there investing, okay? All right, so in recent weeks, you have seen videos by myself or Millennial Mike. We've talked about Northwest Indiana. More specifically, we've talked about Gary, Indiana. But Northwest Indiana as a whole, all right? And we've also said things in there about you got to consider the risk. It's riskier perhaps to invest there than it is in other places. You have to look at yourself, your own risk tolerance, et cetera, et cetera. All right? So what I'm going to talk a little bit about this morning is yields that I'm getting on some of my houses. And it's based on owning them for a period of several years, not owning them for 20 years, but I've owned them for say 2 to 3 years, okay? And things have happened, changes have taken place, forced appreciation, rents have gone up, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, okay? So, but with this being said, look at your market that you're choosing to invest in and see if you can do the same thing, okay? And I don't want to overwhelm anybody. If you have not bought your single property at all, it doesn't matter. Just pay attention to what I say. Think about it. Do your due diligence. Don't click out early. And just study it. Think about it. Study your market where you choose to invest. You might be investing someplace totally different than where I invest, and you can still get great numbers. All right, you just got to find your market, not my market, your market. And perhaps your market is my market. That's fine, okay? Every single market has enough houses for everyone. Because trust me, the whole world isn't investing. Don't get FOMO, the fear of missing out, okay? Because you're not going to miss out. There are rental properties in every single community, probably, I'll just say in the entire United States. Pretty much every single community in the United States has rental properties. So if you live in the United States, somebody in your area owns rental properties, right? Right. So you can choose to invest where you live at. You can choose to invest somewhere else. You can choose to invest where I invest at, and so on and so on and so on. And where I invest at might change. My portfolio is growing in Northwest Indiana, so I'm starting to branch out a little bit into Illinois. And I am kind of in search for another market too. I may stick with Northwest Indiana for more time and more units, but I'm also looking to perhaps spread my wings a little bit. All right. So with that being said, let's talk numbers just a little bit. All right. If you can remember my story, going back to 2019, I bought 4 properties from the turnkey operator, the Olson Group, okay? Those 4 properties, when I bought them, they all had a yield. I don't have that number in front of me. They all had positive cash flow somewhere around $250 a month, okay? Somewhere around $250 a month. Some of them might have been just a little less. Some of them might have been like $270. Some might have been $230, something like that, okay? But the current yields, and that was 2019, so we're looking at 2.5 years, okay? The current yields on those 4 properties are, make sure I got this right. I'm looking at a spreadsheet, so I got to make sure I get my rows correctly. But the cash on cash return, that's the yield, the cash on cash return. One of them is 29.08%. Next one is 24.04%. Next one is 24.42%. And the fourth one is 16.79%. That 16.79%, that tenant We're cutting them a break at the moment. Rent was supposed to have been increased, which would have increased that yield, but then they wanted to go month to month because they want to move out and buy a house. They've been there for the entire time I've owned it. They've been in that house. So we're cutting them a break. We're not raising their rent. We're giving them, I think, till sometime in the summertime. And the deal will be if they're not out by then, that rent will increase at that point. And they will be required to sign an actual lease, not month to month. A lot of landlords go with month to month. I don't typically use month to month on my leases. When my lease expires, prior to it expiring, I have my tenant sign another lease, okay? I do have one tenant I give a 2-year lease to, and that's a decision I came to do that. It's not always recommended. Sometimes it's recommended, but not always. But personally, I don't like month to month, okay? All right, so on those cash flows, and remember, I didn't invest a big dollar amount in those 4 houses. Let's see if I got it here. Yes, I did. When I bought these 4 houses, they were from a turnkey operator. The prices were $69,900, $44,900, $55,000, and $60,000. That was the 4 prices. I did get 30-year fixed rate conventional mortgages through Prime Lending, Jerry Padilla. I have an interview on my channel. You can, reach out to Jerry if you're interested. All right. So since then, I have bought more properties from the Olson Group. I have bought more properties from an investor who fell in hard times. And then I bought 9 properties from an individual who owned something like 500 units. And I bought 9 of them so far. And I bought a couple properties off the MLS. So when you run your numbers, I talk a lot about trying to get $250 a month positive cash flow. Okay. But you also got to look at the cash on cash return, look at the yield. Like as an example, if I can find a $60,000 house, I'm going to positive cash flow $250. To me, that's probably a pretty good number. My yield is probably around, let's just say plus or minus 20%, somewhere in there. So I'm okay with that. If the house costs $250,000 and I'm cash flowing $250 a month, that's not a good deal to me. I am putting way too much money into it for such a small return. The yield, I don't know what the yield would be off the top of my head, but it's not good enough, okay? So you got to look at yield, okay, combined with positive cash flow. All right, so running down my numbers, and I'm trying to think of the easiest way to do this. If I can ever upgrade my technology, I'll be able to share my screen. Sorry. I record all my videos on a cell phone that's 2.5 years old, roughly. And my laptop is dying. I don't have a desktop. I use a tablet. There's my tablet. So at this point in time, I can't share my screen. I don't have the extra money right now to upgrade my technology. Any extra money I have, I am putting it into investments for the current time period. But that time will come when I will return some of the money to my pocket, and perhaps I will upgrade my technology. So anyway, with that being said, we will not be too long on this, but I'm gonna give you the cash on cash percentage and perhaps the positive cash flow. All right, so running down the list, I might skip over some. I have one that's 22.95%. Which one is that? I'm sorry, hesitating here. Let me just see what that one is. Oh, yes, that's the one I paid cash for that one. That's why it's a little bit lower. I paid cash for it. So going down, I got 33.81%, 39.79%, 36.75%, 24.28%, 31.53%, 23.03%, 29.24%, 27.76%, 40.86%, 37.05%, 41.51%, and 38.96%. So did your eyes glaze over? Did I lose you? Okay. I bought 2 houses off the MLS. I want to highlight these 2 houses. I bought 2 houses off the MLS back in November of 2020. All right. I was trying to buy 9 from that one individual. I got impatient because it was taking forever. It was like excruciatingly slow. So I ended up buying 2 houses off the MLS. Those 2 houses, one cash flows 31.5%. The other one cash flows 23%. But make sure I'm looking at the right thing here. Now, one cash flow is 23%, the other one cash flow is 29%. Positive cash flow for one is $346 a month. Positive cash flow for the other is $426 a month. Those two houses, one costs $59,900, the other one costs $59,500. Okay, one rents for $1,000 and the other one rents for $1,050. These are straight off the MLS. They were in good shape. They both required minor work, like very minor, like $1,000. I think one was $1,500. I think one we had to put a GFCI outlet in the kitchen, plus clean it and stuff, and it was about $1,500. And the other one probably a little cleaning and touch-up painting. I don't think it was too much above and beyond that, but about $1,000. Okay, and they were straight off the MLS. So if I can do it, you can do it. All right. There are deals. There are folks out there who 100% buy off the MLS. Okay, I'm buying two houses in Chicago off the MLS. All right. I have gotten good deals from an individual with my seller financing. I've gotten good deals from an investor who fell in hard times and had to sell two properties, I think it was. And so on. And I've gotten good deals from a turnkey operator. Okay. And I bought properties in 3 different states: Virginia, Alabama, and Indiana. Okay. Alabama, I have some. The numbers aren't bad in Alabama. I have one. My first house in Alabama has a cash return 18%. All right. Positive cash flow is $241. What I don't like about that house is that it's gone on 4 years of owning that house. The rent has never been raised. And maybe it's my mistake probably. But the rents have never been increased. It could be that it's in a rough neighborhood, but still, even if it's I've been there several times. The neighborhood, I could live there if I had to. It's not that bad. It's not, that rough. Single family home has a yard. So I've had 3 different property managers. That's probably part of the problem. I can't find the right property manager on that one. Okay. The other house, I don't have it in my spreadsheet, but it was similar cash return. But I've had bad luck with tenants, and I'm in the process trying to get a tenant out. It's a long process. So I'm going through the eviction process, and the judgment was awarded to me in court. And it's been turned over to the sheriff's department, and at some point they will set this individual out. So we'll see how that plays out. So anyway, all right. So I'm sorry I couldn't share my screen. I'm sorry you couldn't see pictures of the houses I own or any part, maybe a piece of my spreadsheet or something like that. But stick with me. Stick with me. As my investments pay off, I will upgrade my equipment. I got an email in this morning from my oil drilling adventure, and it's like, wow. If it plays out just like they're saying it's going to play out, and they're conservative with and I know them, I've talked to them before, they're conservative. It could be a lot better than what they're saying, but if it plays out just like they're saying in their email, it'll be good. It will be good. And maybe I will be able to get I'd like to get a desktop computer. So we'll see if that happens or not. So it will happen. Sometime in 2022, I will upgrade my computer, and odds are my phone, my battery's getting worse and worse. So at some point I got to upgrade my phone. So we shall see. All right. Y'all hang in there with everything. Let me know if you got any questions. Stay safe in all you do and get on that property ladder. And tune in later. If you're still here tonight, it might be a tad bit late by the time it gets uploaded, but 2 other individuals may be joining me. 2 guests are returning, and we're going to discuss credit cards. Okay? All right. Mazske Finance is signing out.